Steve Jewin, MMA Mania.
Hi.
Hi, Julia. Pleasure to talk to you today. First question I wanted to ask you is the last time I saw you fight, I was in Kansas City for Invicta, the Honchek versus Smith card, and I know you signed with Bellator and you've got the fight coming up with Talita Nogueira in just a couple weeks, but what have you been up to in the interim between then and now?
Well, I've been training a lot and just getting better, working on a lot of my weaknesses and training and staying in shape and, and then the opportunity presented itself to sign with Bellator, so it was kind of perfect timing.
You say you were working on improving, but you had run off 4 straight wins in Invicta, so I guess I'm hard-pressed to imagine what you'd improve on after 3 finishes and a unanimous decision.
There was a lot to work on, I feel like I got my wrestling better, my striking better, and my submission game better, so that was what we were working on in the downtime, and I did some traveling and I spent some time with my family as well. And so it was kind of a nice little break from it. And then Bellator basically mentioned that called and said that they wanted to sign the 145ers. And it just felt like it was perfect timing to get back in there.
Yeah, and that was one other thing I wanted to ask you about was you fought at 145. Some of the people that you faced over your career are now top stars for UFC at 135. So it's kind of an interesting position that you're in right now that you could be the reigning 145, best woman on the planet, and yet you faced all these women that are now in UFC at 135.
Yeah, exactly. I've tried to go down to 135 and get down there, and it's not easy for me. Like I've got a lot of muscle and I'm a bigger girl, and that was one thing that we were trying to do as well over that time, was see if I could get down to 135 and play around with my weight, and it didn't feel good. So 145 is where I feel the strongest, and I think there's some exciting fights for me at 145 still. So I plan on staying here.
Absolutely, and Talita Nogueira is one of those exciting fights. We're looking forward to that on the main card. And what are your thoughts on facing her? She's coming in undefeated. She's a world jiu-jitsu champion from 2011. She's got a lot to offer you in this fight.
She does, I've studied all of her jiu-jitsu matches and what she does really well, and where her strengths are and where her weaknesses are, and I plan on just showing where I'm strongest and taking the fight, beating her where she's the weakest. So that's what we were really focused on for this camp was, it's not really worrying about what her strengths are, but being prepared for them and then executing, our game plan.
I'm sure you will execute that game plan in a couple of weeks, but at the same time, with this being a Spike TV fight and, a lot of the Invicta fights were only available over the web, and previous to that, the Strikeforce Challengers series, you were seeing a little bit on Showtime there, but do you feel like there's extra pressure now knowing this will probably be the biggest audience you've ever had for one of your fights? No,
not at all. Like I'm so focused when I'm coming out to fight that I don't even notice the crowd, and I love the energy. I love the energy in the atmosphere as I walk out. So it's like I just think that it's exciting that people can watch me easier. Like I'm telling people it's actually live. You guys can watch it. You don't have to tune in on your computers, and that's the exciting part. So is that my family on the Sunshine Coast and in Canada can just turn on their TV and watch me.
Yeah, speaking of which, how is the weather in British Columbia?
It's raining. It's just rain, but yeah, it's actually not that cold.
Well, I envy you then, because I'll trade the rain for the snow. It made life crazy here. Couldn't get anywhere, couldn't do anything.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
As far as Bellator goes, what made the decision for you that, it was the right home for you, that, Invicta, obviously you had a lot of success there and they treated you very well, but what made you decide Bellator was the place to hang your hat?
Well, Scott Coker was a huge part of our decision because we'd worked with him in Strikeforce, and we knew, that he's committed to actually having the females fight, and that it won't be something that we're just going to sign a contract and then sit in the, stands for a year. It was like, no, as soon as we found out that he was kind of in charge, we're like, yeah, no, this is definitely right.
Yeah, that's something I heard Marlis Kunin say as well, that she was very familiar with him and that she felt comfortable working with him, and that it was like coming full circle for her to get a chance to work with Scott Coker again.
Absolutely, and that's how we felt as well. And Victor was great. Like I loved working for Shannon Knapp and that whole organization, but it felt like this was this was the opportunity to take, especially for my weight division. They were like, we want to put on the best fights in the world at 145, and we want to focus solely on that division right now and build it. And it was like, of course, it would be stupid not to take that opportunity.
Right, and it's a niche that Bellator can definitely carve for themselves because, like I said before, UFC's got the 135s and the 115s, but this is the territory where UFC has not tried to venture, so for Bellator, they could just literally run away with the whole division right now if they wanted to.
Exactly, and we plan on doing that.
Now, I did mention that you had the Strikeforce Challengers fights in the past, and one of the people that you fought very early on in your career was Ronda Rousey, and we just got the announcement within the last 24 hours that Chris Weidman is injured and her fight is moving up to the main event of the next UFC pay-per-view. So, as somebody that's faced Ronda Rousey, what are your thoughts on her in the main event coming up?
Well, I'm so excited for that fight. I think it's going to be a great fight for both girls. They're both great athletes. And, like I'm just, I don't even think, I can't see it ending. Well, I can see it ending by armbar, but I see it, going longer and Kat, definitely being able to use her stand up to keep, I see Ronda. It's hard to vote against Ronda because she's been so dominant, but, I think that Kat stands a good chance, on the best chance as any of the opponents that she's faced, for sure.
And it's been a long time coming for Kat, too. I mean, she's, by God, the most motivated fighter of anybody that's been waiting to get a title shot of anybody I can think of.
Yeah, and, because of what she's gone through and everything, it's like, how do you, go against her? She's just been through hell and back, and I just feel like, God, what a tough woman.
Yeah, the story that when they do the video packages for her are going to be incredible, but at the same time, I know
incredible.
They can do great video packages for you on Bellator as well. Have they been following you around with the film camera and getting some stuff that we're going to see before the fight?
Not yet. I'm sure next week when I'm in Fresno they will be, but not for this fight.
A chance to follow you in Fresno then. So what day are you flying out? When are you going to actually get there and get into sunny California?
We get there on Monday, I believe. And then, so we'll be there Monday afternoon, and then the weight cut starts.
That was my next question, actually, was would you start your weight cut before you left, or, what are you walking around at right now?
I'm only 10 pounds off my weight, so I'm lighter than normal. I'm in good shape and ready to go. So it'll be an easy weight cut. It'll start when I'm there.
Yeah, there won't be any Kelvin Gastelum, John Lineker type situation then.
God, no.
Well, what do you think about that anyway? Because with those two guys in particular, it seems to happen a lot, and it seems to be a recurring issue in MMA right now. It's just not going away with people missing weight cuts and having to drop down to make weights. And it's never been a problem for you, but it is a problem in MMA that a lot of people aren't making weight these days.
Well, I just feel like it's like, for me, the way that I look at it is it's comes with when you sign the contract, it's your word. So for me, it's hard to look at it any other way. I know problems come along as camp, but it comes along for all of us. And as soon as I sign the contract fight, I also sign the contract that I'm going to be on weight for the fight. So it's like you have 8 weeks to prepare. It's hard to imagine people missing weight, to be honest. I know that people get sick and they get whatever happens, but at the end of the day, it's we all have it down to pretty much to a science now. So there's no real excuse, in my opinion.
No. Yeah, when you know what the date is that you have to be ready to make that weight, you can adjust your diet, you can train a little harder, you can do anything you need to do. Like you said, other than getting the flu, which I guess was Gastelum's excuse, there's no reason you should miss. Yeah,
exactly. And that's myth, for sure.
Speaking of what you eat, what's your diet like when you're training for a fight? What do you fuel the body with to get ready to make that weight and come in strong and healthy?
a lot of tons of vegetables, tons of fruit, and I'd say lean protein, so fish and chicken and turkey. But yeah, tons and tons of veggies and smoothies and fruit. I love my diet when I'm training for a fight. I don't feel like I'm going without anything.
No, it sounds pretty good to me. So I guess in closing, I want to give you a chance to promote any sponsors, throw out any plugs you'd like to, and your final thoughts on facing Talita Nogueira coming up in Fresno, California at the Save Mart Center.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to thank all my training partners and my coaches at Gibson MMA, as well as Port Moody Health and Carmen Bott, my strength and conditioning coach. And definitely tune in, Spike TV, Friday the 13th. Friday, February 13th, to watch me fight.
Friday the 13th, but it's not going to be a horror show except for your opponent, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Julia.
I was like, is that the Friday? Oh my God, it's Friday the 13th. I'm like, woohoo. Yay.
It'll be a fun night of fights. We're looking forward to it, Julia, and best of luck in the camp and have a great fight when it comes up at the Save Mart Center in Fresno.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a great day. And Lauren, thank you for connecting the call.